Alright, I'm back again, and Super Tuesday was yesterday, and today it is pretty much clear that what I said all along, barring any unforeseen circumstances, it will be Trump versus Biden round 2, like I've been saying. Nikki Haley did in fact drop out today. Like I said, if she couldn't pull off a win in her home state, it was over. And it was over. She did pick up Vermont, which was people viewed as unexpected. There was also someone, I think, in Guam that beat Joe Biden rather handedly, that no one had ever heard of, which I think is pretty interesting, to say the least. The bulk of what I want to talk about today is Nikki Haley and her dropping out. In her concession speech, she did not endorse Trump. There are two takes to this. There are people applauding her for standing by her convictions, and there are people who are pissed because she did not honor her pledge that she signed to support the nominee, whoever it was. That said, there have been quite a bit of things Trump has said over the year, over the weeks, that I can see why she would be questioning whether or not she would want to support him. And really, in a way, I would say it would be the duality of politics. A double-edged sword of sorts. So you can either stand by your word or you can stand by your principles and convictions. Or is it? With politicians, you have to question their convictions and their word because they honestly go back on it quite a bit. They don't call it campaign promises for nothing. And the allegations of her being unfaithful to her husband have gone back over a decade. And while I've not been able to prove or find proof one way or another that they were real, those allegations of infidelity, if they are true, she denied them. Her husband did not leave her, so maybe they're not. But still, the information is there. There's no real proof, and in the mind's eye, you're going to have the taint on that. Even if they're not, without, when you're at that level, it's you're just going to have it. It's no ands, ifs, buts about it. So when you think about it and you study it, you're left wondering, how in the world could you do anything different? It would be a win or a winless situation. Again, or is it? I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to say what I would do, or give an example of what I would say if I were in her role. Now, I'm not going to say I am play the part of Nikki Haley, but if I were me, personally, and I was in that position, this is what I would say. Blah, 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 blah. I'm suspending my campaign. There have been a lot of things said over the course of the campaign that have caused people to question if I would support Donald Trump if he became the nominee. If I would stand by my convictions or stand by the pledge in which I signed. And those are very valid concerns. However, I did sign a pledge, and I'm nothing but, if not a man of my word. A man without his word is not much, because that in and of itself is what should bind you. If your word is meaningless to the world, so are you. That is something I firmly believe. And as such, I'm going to pledge my support to Donald Trump. Now, with that being said, I want you to know that all of my supporters out there are not bound by that pledge. As I was. You have the opportunity to go with your conscience and support who you want to support. If Donald Trump can earn your support, you are free to do so. If he does not, you are free to support whoever you choose. Or something to that effect. By doing so, what you have done is you've kept your word that you would support the nominee, whoever that person be. But on the flip side, you've turned it around and you said, none of my supporters are bound by that pledge. You are free to do what you want, to support who you want. And if he wants your support, he has to earn it. You see what I did? She could have even had a jab about some of the attacks that he has made and accusations and whatnot. She could have thrown that in and turned it around and said, if you don't want to support him because of that, you don't have to. I have to keep my word, or else, I'm a liar. But you're not bound by that pledge. And what this does is it sets her apart as a if she has future political endeavors, and that she is willing to give her word and keep it. But what about her moral convictions? She stated she can support those moral convictions by stating, my supporters are not bound by this pledge, by this agreement. You're free to support whoever you want. Now, see, if there was a question about the moral convictions, she could say, I urge you to support him. You see that? By flipping it back and saying, no, he has to earn your support, that would be a way to maintain your moral convictions while simultaneously keeping your word. Close to having your cake and eating it's as close as having your cake and eating it too as you're ever going to get. And in politics, it's really the proper political answer. in so many ways. Now that said, they're not going to know who you ultimately vote for unless you tell them. You can say you're giving the support, and you can give the middle finger and vote for someone else. No one will know the difference. But facially, you would have kept in the eyes of the public, you would have kept your word, and that would have given the idea that, to some degree, yeah, you have a certain degree of integrity and a certain degree of integrity. Yeah, I believe I said integrity twice, but oh well. You have a certain degree of integrity, and you have a certain degree of intelligence to find a balance between being true to yourself and being true to your word. Genius, isn't it? And then 2022, she wants to run for Senate or what have you. For midterms, she can. And she has something to hang on the wall if she wants, or not 2022, 2026. 2 years. It's been one of those days. But if she really wants to, in 2 years, she can come back and run for Senate for midterms. Or come back in 2028, run for president again. She still has that, can still use that, and people would actually think more highly of her, I would think, than because she found the way to do a little bit of both. In the mind's eye, at least. Or in the public eye. That's my thoughts on the matter. I've rambled on a little bit longer than I really cared to. Let me know what you think. Which option do you think would be better? To keep your word, but have the view of keeping your word, but not keeping your moral convictions, keeping your moral, having the perception of keeping your moral convictions, but not your word? Or is my option the better option? Later.